Here we have the Cadence Magic Bond and Seal, which is exclusive to Personal Impressions. Now this is a multi-purpose, quick-drying bond and seal glue and can be used on a wide variety of your craft projects, from paper crafting to mixed media to upcycling your home decor and furniture. Then the Magic Bond and Seal comes in 3 different finishes. We've got matte, satin and gloss, and it's also available in 3 size pots, 150 ml, 250 ml and 450 ml. So great sizes to use in all your projects. It's especially great to adhere your rice papers to your projects, which I will now show you. Now I'm going to show you how to apply the rice paper onto your project using the Magic Bond and Seal as our glue and sealer. So what I've chosen here is I have a little drawer base. It could be anything. This could be a canvas, it could be a card, it could be anything at all. This is a hard surface, it can be furniture. And I'm using a white paint here, or a light paint, because what I want to do is I want to make sure the rice paper colours really pop. And by adding the white hybrid, I've got a Cadence white hybrid, by adding this to my project first, I know my rice papers will really shine through. So also what I've got is a soft brush, because I find a soft brush is great for applying the glue onto your project, or you could use some of the Cadence cut and use stamp foam. The box has now been painted with my Cadence hybrid white paint to give us that light background. Now we're going to use our bond and seal together with the rice paper to add to the box. And we're going to add this piece of rice paper, decide which area you want, and we're going to add this to the top of our box. Now I don't need to have all this, and we are going to sand some back. So what I'm going to do, and this is where rice paper is amazing, is that we can either have it as a whole piece, we can cut out elements, but what we can also do, it's very strong whilst dry, but we can then give it a soft edge. So I'm just going to use some water and a paintbrush, and I'm just going to take off the excess around the one side. So it's just water on my brush, and I know then I don't want this area here. I don't want to waste my paper, so I like to do this easy way of taking that paper off. And then all I'm going to do is tear that excess away. See how easy it is to tear, and that gives you a beautiful soft edge to use with your Magic Bond and Seal if you want that beautiful soft finish on your canvases. So you want to blend this edge in with paint. So what we're going to do now is we're going to apply this to the top. So what I'm going to do now is apply this to the top using the Cadence Bond and Seal. I have the satin one here. So I'm going to take my glue, and I'm taking a soft brush. So it could be a bit of your cut and use foam as well. Because I'm putting this piece on all in one go, I'm actually going to use the glue onto the surface for this type. If you want something flat, I'm going to use it straight onto the surface. So I'm applying now the glue, a nice thin coat across the top, making sure you come up to all the edges, because you want to make sure that that paper is sealed down around those edges. Then I'm going to lay the paper onto the top of the edge where we want our design to be, and I'm going to smooth that down, making sure you get rid of all those air bubbles underneath. If you get one, you can just crease, you can just lift it and pop it back down. The papers are textured because of the cotton and silk slab in there. Just make sure you've got that nicely glued down like that. Then you're going to let that dry for a little. So we're going to let that dry a little. And what you're going to do now is we're going to seal across the top of our paper. This is where the magic happens, because this also seals it and gives this a protective coating, and it makes sure then that your project is really down on your base. There you go. And then we're going to let that dry, and we're going to sand off around the edges with a little bit of emery or sandpaper or an emery block. Now that it's dry, I'm just using an emery block here. I'm just sanding. You don't want to put a lot of pressure. Just sand them until it forms right around up to your project. This way you get a pristine finish to the shape of your project. Now this part of the box is decorated. We're now going to put it onto this, and this is a curved surface. So once again, it's exactly the same. We're going to apply the glue and magic bond and seal to the surface because we'll put it on as one piece. Here we go. Right to the right to the edges. You want to make sure they're all sealed down. And I'm just going to use this scrap I have left, and we're going to add this to the lid of the box drawer front here. And again, you're going to smooth it down. Make sure you smooth it right down over that curve. Okay. There we go. Once again, I'm going to use the bond and seal to seal across to make sure I've got a beautiful bond, and it also gives a lovely seal to the top. Once again, I'm going to wait for that to dry a little before sanding the edges off as we did previously on this piece. So here we have the box. We've added all the rice papers on here now using the Cadence Magic Bond and Seal. So this is now ready for you to add all your final pieces, your stenciling, your embellishments, your ribbons to suit your project. But did you know you can use your magic bond and seal to apply your rice papers to your glass? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how. So I have a glass plate, clean glass plate. I have rice paper. We have the Cadence Magic Bond and Seal. I have some white paint, and I also have a soft brush for applying the glue. So I'm going to show you now how we apply it to glass. For this method of putting rice papers onto glass, we'll be working from the reverse side of the plate. And we're going to be adding our glue directly onto the printed side of our rice paper, because we are doing the opposite of what you'd expect we did onto the box earlier, onto the hard surface. We want it to show through, so we have to reverse the way we put our rice papers on. So first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to add the glue to the rice paper. The reason why we add it to the paper and not to the glass is because we don't want too much excess glue when you're working onto glass. You want a nice smooth finish, and you get a nice smooth finish if you apply the glue direct to your images on the printed side. So we're just going to add the glue to the rice paper. Any excess glue I'm removing, and then I'm going to carefully remove this from the mat, bring my glass plate in, and then we're going to lay this down onto our glass. So I want to make sure we smooth any bumps and lumps out whilst it's still wet. Just going to smooth that onto the glass. If you get any, just lift it and smooth. Gently lift whilst it's still wet and smooth onto all around the edges of that glass, and make sure you've got it sealed down. And when we turn this over, very simple, very easy to do. What we're going to do though, from the reverse now, whilst we know we've got it all on, I'm going to just a little bit across the back to make sure it's all fully sealed on. Nice layer of glue across. Now, as we are doing it onto a nice flat surface, we can do this very easily. And then we're going to leave that to dry before we sand off the excess, as we did previously with the box. So here's the plate now. It's dried, and I've just sanded off. You can see all the loose edges around there. And what I want to do now, I mean, this is very transparent, which is very translucent, which is very beautiful as it is. So you could have that as it is and have it with that translucency from behind. But to really make the colours pop when you pop them onto glass, we like to paint the backs. So what I've got here, again, I've just gone for some of the hybrid paint, because hybrid paint works on all surfaces, the Cadence hybrid paints. So I'm just going to, once again, I'm using this soft brush, but you could also use a sponge dauber. What we're going to do is we're just going to paint, lift this up, paint the back of our project. What we're actually doing here is we're giving that rice paper a beautiful background, so it really pops the colours, and we're also sealing the back using the paint as well. Now we're going to dry that and add a second coat of the paint on the back. So here at the back of the plate now, we've added 2 coats of our hybrid paint. And now if you turn it around the front, you can see how those colours really now pop on that glass plate, because we've added that light colour behind the beautiful transparency and the translucency of those rice papers. So I hope you enjoyed.